Hello, my name's Hasselhoff. Um, I make maps, primarily environment art, because I hate layouts and I hate Counter-Strike, but I like making things look pretty. And fortunately, you can do that if you only do environment art. Mm. So that's what I do. And this is Hessel's really long, pointless video about random things on Stronghold because I really want to talk about this map and the things I've done on it, but I don't think anybody will really care. Um, with that being said, I did do my mapping history is that I made some garbage maps, and then I worked on Frostbite as a compiler and then became a environment artist on that after I got bored and wanted to do something that wasn't compiling, and so I ended up doing like 60% of 60% of Frostbite, and then we did Vineyard, and I think I did maybe 60% of Vineyard in terms of environment art as well, probably maybe more. I think it's hard to say though because coding did quite a bit too. And then I made Akiba, but the map's kind of bad, so I don't want to talk about that. And then I have this, which I think is a really good map. Uh, I think this map is easily in the top three because I'm biased, and I think I know what I've made, and I think I've made some good stuff. Although some of it is a little hacky, and that's kind of what I want to show. Hmm, water is good. Okay, so take a look. For starters, I guess I'll take a look at lighting. So I have a 5090 here specifically so I can run this in a path trace view and not have it wait 12 years. So if I go over here to my lighting entities, after stage two finished up there, uh, I was really debating whether or not we should change up the lighting on this map because I thought it was a little boring. Um, it, well, hmm. So I guess I need to show this first. Originally, our problem was so without all this foliage and shit here, this map is very bland. The foliage actually adds a heckin' ton here, but otherwise you get this nice monstrosity here. It's just bald. This looks terrible, actually. Holy cow, I haven't looked at this in a while. But the foliage adds a lot is the main point. But so the greenery is nice and everything, but we still have a lot of gray here, and I didn't know if this was really hurting us in some regards. I know we've gotten rid of it a lot more because Kale redid uh, A site a lot for stage three, which was nice because it desperately needed to have some more color that wasn't just brown, yellows, beiges, and some grays from the rocks that aren't also just these rocks aren't really on the site any, so you're really just left with a bunch of like 50 shades of brown, unfortunately, and maybe some gray on the floor. Um, but yeah, so I thought about changing up the lighting. So I wanted to have some fun and show off. This was my attempt at overcast lighting at one point. I do think this actually could have worked. It just would have taken a lot of effort. Honestly, I don't know. I really like the idea of this, and I think it could have been really cool because you could have had a bunch of like puddles. You could have had a lot of wetness layers. I don't think I'd have made it raining because I just don't. I don't know if I would want to deal with that. I think that'd be a lot of man, maybe too much work. I don't know, but the puddle aspects of it, I think, could add a lot. Like you could add a lot of depth to the roads here. You could add a lot of like water pools here, stuff like that. I think you could do a lot of cool stuff even without the rain effect. Um, Ultimately decided not to go with that because we lose out on a lot of our cool lighting in these interior sections. That obviously I have some fake lights here too. So like you, it kills a lot of the interior lightings that I have done, and I didn't like the idea of having to change up some of these. Obviously, I still think it could have worked. It's just I really liked how a lot of the fake lights, or even not the fake lights, but even just the regular bounces I had worked. Because this, I feel like this is still decently cool. It's just this is definitely not as cool in my eyes. If I had changed the lighting. That being said, I really heckin' love how this looks with the skybox, though. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say sometimes. But yeah, so we didn't end up going with this, and instead we went with our current lighting, which is this bright and sunny, which I do like. Because again, if I go back over here, I think this looks a lot cooler. I think this you get all these light bounces. This is nice. Okay, let's see what else I got. Um, some really hacky solutions here. So our map kind of didn't run the best in stage two. I'll probably argue that it still probably doesn't run the best in stage three. But Squidski did some very aggressive skybox mesh work for stage three to try and help optimization a bit more. But in doing so, we ran into quite a few issues. Um, I'm debating whether to show them because once you see them, you can't unsee them. So I think I'm going to avoid that. I don't want anybody to look at this and go, that's interesting. Let me dock some points for that. But I will talk about is this tower here. So in trying to think. In stage two, this looked a bit different. It looked probably a lot better actually. But in stage three, I had to make this one giant prop, and I had to make this also one material. And that reasoning is if I trying to think how to word this here. Basically, because of our aggressive skybox scrolling, which I will not show because it's horrendous. If you want to look at it, just go look in VRF or sorry, Source Two Viewer, because I'm not gonna. I don't want to. I don't want somebody to look at it in this video and go, "What have you done? Are you crazy?" But essentially, our skybox mesh goes really close to right here, and completely encapsulates this building or this structure right here. So from certain parts of the map, it'll just stop rendering for not no reason. It's very obvious that you're not supposed to have things clipping into the skybox, but like for no reason, it will just render and then not render like 2 feet in front of you. And so to get around this, I talked to some different people for help, and we eventually settled on I think Lamar or Lamarite told me a suggestion that he had from something that he had worked on before, where if you set this as prop dynamic, and then make the bounding box as big as possible with some random stray mesh work, like just anything to really just expand the props bounding box. Um, if you make the bounding box big enough, it will just always render on the map now. So now this always renders from everywhere, and the only downside to it is that the structure doesn't look the greatest anymore, but I think if you don't remember how it looked in stage two, you're not gonna remember how it looks in stage three. Or yeah, I don't think you're gonna notice that it's a little worse. Not a little, it's probably a lot worse. I don't even remember how it looks in stage two anymore. And we're not gonna try to find a comparison because you're not gonna tell me otherwise that it was bad because I know it was bad. Or better rather. Trying to think what else. So yeah, so that was a hacky solution we had to do for that. I am not proud of it, but it was something that we figured out and it works. So if anybody ever has any issues with needing something to render all of the time, I think a good hacky solution is to make it prop dynamic and expand the bounding box as big as possible. But it's not recommended. I also mentioned about having to make this all one material. That's because this uh from from below it would occasionally just start culling things, even though I had it set to disable mesh collision, or sorry, not mesh collision, disable. This was probably a before thing. I would have this set to, oh, here it is. No, weird. To disable, what is it, the prop combine stuff. I don't it's the name's escaping me. But I had it set to disable that because it was causing a lot of issues. Disable mesh merging. That's it. Um, because if all of these meshes start merging with random other things, parts of them will just start getting cold out of nowhere again, and you'll have the same exact issue where I had like this bottom layer here looked a lot different in stage two. But it would just keep getting randomly cold. I originally had a giant like this same exact radio tower right here in the skybox, and it would also again like it would pop in and out, but it would be weird because parts of the radio tower are still rendering behind it, so you'd have this annoying just a lot of annoying issues with this skybox and this, and it was hard to get working around. I think I spent like a solid week of development time trying to figure out how to make this work properly until we finally figured out the prop dynamic thing. I don't know. It's just a mess. I don't want to deal with it anymore. Um, it's all really just because we have to do so aggressive on the skybox culling, but it is what it is. I mean, if it helped performance at all, it's nice. I sometimes debate that it helped that much, but no, I think it helped a lot actually. But I don't know. Part like the entirety from T spawn, I think almost the entirety of the map was being rendered for whatever reason, and it's almost purely because this hill just isn't tall enough, and I can't make it taller because T-Rexer wants this to be viewable, and also this. Like it's nice. You want to see where you're going on the map, and it's nice to be able to see where you're going, but also it's very frustrating when you're trying to figure out performance issues when you can't do one of the like most simplest things to obviously improve performance, which is to like just kind of stop you from being able to view things. Um, there's a possible workaround here that we could have done where we move this to the skybox, but for some reason this heckin' flag needs to be in this map. I'm curious if there is a better workaround that we could have done though. Maybe that's something that we can do um, later on if anybody actually cares. But but yeah. Trying to think what else we have here. Um, I'll say this. This map uses a few train assets, and I'm gonna say if you haven't looked around the map, it'd be really cool if somebody could pause the video and then look or look around the map and try to play spot the train assets and see if you actually notice how many train assets we're using. Uh, I'm just gonna wait a second here. You can pause it, and then I'm gonna move on and say, like 95% of the map is probably train assets. I say 95. Like these rocks take up a good portion, and this is all made by Squidski, thankfully. So like the unique aspects of the map, I think, are mostly custom here because the rocks are probably a big focal point. But like, I mean, this entire bomb site here is basically tra- train. I mean, this grading is train. This material is train. This material is train. This material is train. I mean, pretty much anything interior wise, minus these rocks again, are interiors from or rather materials from train. This is custom. This was before train came out, so this material came we had before train came out. So it just we I kept it because I wanted Squidski to not feel bad that we had made a material that maybe we couldn't that we could have replaced with something from train. So I kind of just kept it around. But also it's a good. I like this texture honestly. Um, train. Some of this actually, this blend here I made, or we made rather. This is not from Train. I don't remember where we got this from. Textures.com or something. Um, so it's like a real rock, like smooth rock floor blend kind of thing. Train. Everything's train. This area in A site is pretty much entirely custom. I think that Kale did. Kale worked entirely on A site. So if you have any complaints about that, that's all Kale's fault, not mine. But otherwise, I mean, this definitely a very unique area that Kale did, uh, versus my more military bunker-esque aesthetic over here, which I think I did pretty good on it. Originally, this was all this flat red concrete here, and it showed the bomb site decently well. Like this, I still think this red is very indicative of it being the bomb site. I mean, it's red, and I know it's a little sus around the edges here, but it's whatever. Honestly, I don't really care. But I think for this, we wanted to replace. Or the I think Quoting had suggested it because I talked to Quoting a lot and get feedback from him because he's generally a very smart individual when it comes to some of this mapping stuff. For some reason, I have no idea why. He's just I don't know. Um, but he had suggested maybe changing some of this up to add some variety, and I liked the idea because For one, by changing it to some of this metal, we get a lot of different sounds over here. I really liked the idea of you have this very distinct concrete. I mean, almost all the map is this like concrete or like rock sound whenever you're walking. So it's kind of hard to differentiate here. But by adding this metal around here, and I think thematically it still worked pretty well. But by adding this metal around here, you were able to get a very distinct sound for the inner circle of the bomb site. Uh, and yeah, I think it looks visually. I think it looks a lot better too. I mean, this is very distinct. We are able to separate this a bit more. You're able to do some kind of cool details underneath. You can't really see them due to the lighting, and also these shadows don't come through like they do in the all lighting preview here. I wish this showed through. This looks really cool from inside, but you'll just never see it, unfortunately, because Source 2 kind of yeah, you need your dynamic light space sometimes. I don't know. It's whatever. It's cool though. Um, have some like little like puddle shit under here though. Like this is stuff that this never sees the light of day basically because it's all so many shadows and stuff. None of this really evaporates that well. So I've had a lot of puddles down here. You'll just never see any of this unfortunately because it's all pretty. It's a little too dark underneath unfortunately. And I didn't want to fake light it either because I just thought it was kind of a waste. I don't want to highlight this area too much, but I was hoping that the sun would highlight it a bit more than it did. But yeah, um, that was that. Yeah, so this was really fun to do. I actually had, I think I had Seth help me with this because I was pulling like or these stairs, and I think the rest of this he also, I think he pretty much did most of it. But I was trying to figure out. I was like kind of pulling my hair out trying to figure out how to do this circular bit here because I really liked the idea and really wanted to do it, but I was just struggling my hardest to get it going, and he graciously decided to help me with it. Um, so yeah, thank you, Seth, again for helping with this. I think this turned out pretty well. The other thing that we used a few times on the map was this deformer smart prop that I think it was GCath made. I think he made that. Um, but this basically lets you. Oh, hecked up. There we go. This basically lets you tweak some of these parameters here and just get some different curvatures or distances. Where's the curve? This one. Some of those. Where's my stuff like this? Kind of it. This is really hard to fully utilize, I think, but I think it's really cool if you know what you're doing. He has a smart prop to do for this, where I basically just grabbed kind of the idea of what I wanted, and then replace the prop and then tweak the parameters a bit until it gets what I want. But this essentially lets you take a very oh, I hicked up something. Hold on. Yeah, this basically lets you take a very straight or a normally straight prop, and as long as it has a bunch of verts, it will deform it for you. This is something that I think Valve used on Train, but they never actually released it. I, I'm not exactly sure on the complete like deformer prop lore, but it's very unfortunate that Valve doesn't really have any like. I don't think there's any real access to the actual proper deformer tool. So instead, we have to use this smart prop method, but I think this really works well, so I don't really mind. This thing right here is entirely the smart prop deformer. You can set it to have a bunch of repeating secondary models. So like I have the primary model here that's curved, and then it wraps around that number of times. That's why it's a little weird if you really look at this. Like some of this is a bit odd, but it's kind of just because it's a hacky solution to not have to do that or to not have to make like a custom prop or not have to do all of this manually by hand because that kind of blows to me. The only problem I have with this is that I can't collapse it, and that's not anybody's fault but Valve's. They just don't let you collapse smart props. Which is whatever. Um, yeah, I think. I can talk about some of this destruction that I've done. So this destruction here that I did for stage 3, because this was pretty much just a plain wall before with some bits of like noise, I guess. But I redid it for stage 3 because I was wanting more destruction. This whole the a lot of the map actually has quite a bit of destruction, which I can talk about this a bit more here later because I think some of this is really cool to do. I did some of it like here and over here, but for this destruction here, I know Kale had done this work over here on his castle. So he had this material that he had made for this surface damage for this destruction. So I yoinked it and went over here to uh, one of our rock models and copied it and then pasted it over here. Material override it with this destruction material that Kale had, and then kind of just I made a new blend of the what is this? Made a new blend of the train textures. Basically, pretty much a lot of this I had to decompile because again, you can't just make new blends from default materials. You have to decompile them and then re-add them to your map, which is a little frustrating. But since the 3 GB limit, it's honestly not terrible because I think most maps can easily get by with 2 gigs. It's just if we're going to have to decompile default assets in order to really use them the way we want to, I definitely prefer having 3 gigs. So thank you Valve for 3 gigs. But anyways, so made this so that I could blend some of this, oh, so that I can blend this damaged thing to it, and then kind of just like the only reason I copied these rocks is because they have varying degrees of like uh I guess they kind of just they curve inward. I don't know. They have a lot of varying um what's the word I'm looking for? Subdivision. I don't know. They have a lot of shape to them. I guess they're very unique, and so by just kind of doing that, I can make a hole. Like I can just make this a hole right here. I just make a hole here and then kind of just add some shape to it, and all of a sudden now at least to me, I think it looks a lot better now. It has like it's not just some weird like inward whatever. Or, I don't know. Just talked about it too much now. But I don't know. I think I did a good job here. And then I threw in some bits of. This is just from. I'll talk about this a little more later. This is from Half-Life Alyx. This is just like a destroyed, like concrete chunk that I've retextured with our damage material here, and then added a like this face here is also just our material here as well, and then kind of blend it slightly so it kind of appears like it's maybe like it's the same. Oh, it's like a chunk from that type of thing, you know. It's same for down here. It's the same thing here. And then you stick some rebar props in there, uh, or meshwork, whatever. Stick some rebar in there, kind of bend it up a bit, maybe try to give it a little bit of a unique shape, and then call it good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's the same thing over here, just a bit bigger. This was the first one I did, so I don't think it's as good. You have some weird deformities going on here with the displacement work that I did because again I just was kind of pushing it inward and I didn't quite have the idea for the rocks yet. And then afterwards I did, but I didn't end up going back to redo this because I was lazy and also because I literally did this I think a week before deadline and I didn't want to. I really didn't want to redo things because I had other stuff to do. So this is a little weird. I don't think you really notice it that much unless you're like really looking at it from like right here kind of thing. So I don't know. I don't really think you notice it that much to be honest, but maybe somebody will and they'll dock me points for it. Um Same thing for this, just a little smaller. I think this one turned out really well as well. Minus the bigger chunky rock here. Wish that wasn't quite so chunky, but whatever. Um I do these edge wares, these edge destruction. This is actually originally a prop from Half-Life Alyx, although I know this material is actually used on Overpass, right here, this Overpass one. However, I think it's no, it is it's the same. Okay, yeah. I had a weird issue originally where I was trying to, so the Half-Life Alyx one uses the same exact material, um, and so I found this Half-Life Alyx prop with this. it was just this little bit here, and was importing it into CS2. So I exported. So I had the prop, and then I collapsed the prop into editable mesh, and then I export the prop as FBX from HLA's hammer, and then import it into here again as editable mesh from the FBX file or whatever it was. Maybe DMX. I don't even remember. But you import it into here from that, and then bam, you have a bunch of error, but you have the shape that you want. And then I texture override uh, that material with this one. Originally, I was getting errors with it, so I just ended up copying the Half-Life Alyx one over as well, even though they're the same. But sometimes it just works. I don't know. Hammer's weird sometimes when you're importing meshes about uh maintaining the UVs on the texturing. So I don't know. Just it worked eventually, and I don't remember exactly how. So good luck if you want to do something like that. But mm, water. But yeah, I think it turned out really well. So again, not this. This bit here is the prop basically. This was the prop, and then I already had it collapsed, obviously. So what I did was Kale did something very similar, so I kind of just copied his approach, which was you make your oh, that's why that's right. You make your edges over here line up with the furthest possible point. Uh, so like that, yeah, the furthest possible edge to the left here. And then you kind of make a cut on your mesh, like on your outside mesh, and then you you kind of just merge, like you vert merge here, and then of course you have a vert merge there and a vert merge down here, and then you can just autofill. So like if I did this, that's probably not going to work. Yeah, it's not going to work now. But like if I did that and then had like this and then double click to have all of this selected and then you hit P to fill, it would create this right here, and then I mean, you're kind of just done after that. You could take this material, uh, plaster it on there as well, and all of a sudden you kind of have pretty decent looking destruction, while still. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's just yeah, it's still your mesh work. It's just I don't know. This destruction just really works well. I think I don't really know what else to say about it. It just kind of works. It looks good. I've seen a few other people I think in the contest do something like this. And yeah, it just works. I also don't think you notice that I copy and paste the same one a bunch of times, because it's just kind of slight variance every time. This rebar, it's such a good texture. This is a really good destruction prop. I just really like it. That's why I use it so much. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, this monstrosity. This thing sucked. So for a while, and originally stage one, um, this looked like. I mean, it didn't look like garbage. It just T-Rex didn't really have any idea of what he wanted it to be. I think he wanted it to just kind of like be able to chuck nades through. But even then, I don't even know what. I don't even think it had any decent nade lineups from this because it was like some weird like hole here, hole here, hole here thing. It was just weird. Didn't really make any sense. And so I had an idea of what if we kind of just made a hole in the wall here, um, and that way you can throw nades through. You get some natural light in. Maybe there's some cool stuff we can do with that. So I went about experimenting with it a bunch. Ran into some issues because, uh, well, you see here, some of this is weird height. The rocks are here, so it's kind of funky. If I wanted to do like a hole right here type of thing on the wall, um, so it was kind of meh. I tried thinking about like doing one for just the ceiling, and it didn't really work that well because again, I'm like, I you're not really seeing anything here. I guess you start seeing this, which is cool. So I saw this and was like, I really want to keep this somehow. This looks really cool to me, even if nobody else really notices it. Um, and so we had that. And then I kind of had the idea of almost merging the two. So we had a bit of wall destruction here mixed with ceiling destruction here, and now we get this. It's a very odd shape if you think about it, but you get this shape here. Um, and so what I had done was, uh, I had also done this elsewhere, but I'll go over it here. Um, this is a train prop. It's actually a train prop from over here. See, I did this area of the map. So like this train came out, and I had barely started working on most of the map, and so I was about to start working on this area here, and we originally had like a custom brick texture that was almost exactly the same as how uh, trains was, which is why we ended up replacing it. But I was starting work on this area here, and train came out. We were looking at train, and I was like, "Damn, that's really good stuff. Those are some good assets to use." And so I started using them pretty much everywhere. So the reason this room is filled with so much train is because this was the first area I worked on after train came out. Um, and so we did that with this, with all that stuff. And then I got to here, and I was trying to figure out what the hell to make T-Rexer's weird ass building structure here, because it was very obviously like an actual building of some kind. But how the hell does this make sense when it's also connected to this? This somehow needs to connect to this underground bit that I had made. It just realistically, this makes no sense whatsoever. But we try to suspend disbelief to an extent when we're making maps, and just hope that nobody realizes how weird this is. So this kind of just became whatever this building type. It again uses train assets. This is slightly decompile of some train destruction uh, that that I saw on train, stuff like that. Took almost one for one off from ideas from train to do a lot of this. This is also completely mirrored right down the center. I don't think I've heard anybody complain about that before, but it's very obvious when you look at it that I just mirrored it because I was lazy. So good for me, I guess. I don't know. Um, oh yeah, the point of this was this some of these. Which one was it? This one? Yeah, this one right here. This right here has a very nice shape for destruction here. I really like this shape. So what if you copied this? Oh, wrong button. What if you copied that? What if you went over here and were like, nice shape. What if I just take you and what if I just, kind of heck around with this, throw this up against a wall, maybe don't align it on selection, something like that. And then oh, that's brilliant. Thank you, Valve. Right, there we go. And you do that, and then you kind of just you have that kind of thing right here, and then you do another one over here, and you just have two of these, and wow, all of a sudden you kind of have a destroyed looking wall. It just lacks a lot of depth. So what if I collapse this? Okay, oh, that's collapsed now. Okay, it doesn't really look great. We need to do something first. We need to extract faces, because by default, if you start editing the mesh without extracting faces after you've collapsed it, it fucks up the UVs entirely. We don't want it to fuck up the UVs. I mean, it doesn't matter in this case, but at the same time, it kind of does. I don't remember exactly how I ended up doing it. I may have merged. I may have Control A fixed merge on these to get the edges lined up more. Yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah. So all of a sudden, so now I have all these edges merged, or all these edges selected, and then I can give it some depth here. There we go. There's a bit of depth. And then I can kind of Control I invert. Oh, there we go. Get rid of all that now. Actually, no, we wanted to keep that. But yeah, but you get the idea. So now I have some depth to this, and all of a sudden we have this. So I can change this material here to just be, just like whatever the hell. It's this destruction bit looking thing here, and now it's we like make this material, we make that this, and now if you kind of look at it, minus some of this bits, which probably need adjusting a tad, this really does look kind of like a destroyed wall to an extent. Uh, don't look too hard at it. So it starts looking like a destroyed wall, and then I threw in some rocks behind here. It's like, hey, the rocks are on the outside, there's so something like they built this concrete structure like so, and then their rocks are on top of it. I can't think too hard about it. I don't think anybody else should either. But But yeah, I mean, you build a concrete structure inside. Also, these walls or these ceilings and walls would be hella thick. This would not be nearly so such a thin layer, I think. But yeah, yeah, you just do that, and then you add some like rebar, you add some destruction bits. Again, these are from Half-Life Alyx, and I just kind of tweak them up a bit, replace this texture with my own little destroyed rubble bit, put some rocks around the edges that it kind of looks like it vaguely matches some of the destruction. Just give some sharp edges here and there, or not even sharp edges to an extent. A lot of just edges in general here, and I think it hides it pretty well. I think it just turned out pretty all right. I don't think it's bad. Uh, and then this is a similar story. I took one of these destruction props here. I widened it the hell out, and then I just did kind of that thing. Just expanded it a bit until it fit the shape I wanted, and then kind of just made some pillars around it, and now it looks pretty solid. More rebar, yeah, just like that. I think it turned out pretty nicely. Um, a lot of work, took quite a bit of time to try and like kind of figure out what you want to do in some cases on this stuff, and it's a lot of trial and error, which can get frustrating for a lot of people, but sometimes it turns out good in the end, so it's worth it. But I don't know. It's hard to not get discouraged. So it's also nice. It's always nice to have a team of people to get feedback from, or even just to sit in a voice call with and just hang out with people while you're working on stuff. So stuff like that's nice. Yeah. Um, and then I did this little destroyed hole here. Again, this is pretty weak compared to the rest of it. But I think Quoting had said before too. I think a lot of this is a lot of visual noise for the ground, to be honest. And so I think I started getting a little worried about adding too much more, so just kind of kept it as is. But there's like an indent in the floor because it's like, what if something fucking from over here in a wartime, like went flying and like landed right here or something. It's stupid. It doesn't make sense again because I don't know in what world anything creates destruction quite like this, but in this world it did. So very cool. Uh, we have our nice. Yeah, we're good. Okay. We have our nice little Daffy Duck looking decal here. I don't know where Kale got this. This is a really nice decal if you ignore the fact that this is a bill and this is kind of a weird looking head. So like you have this head shape and then you have this and you have some wings here. You got some feet, another wing, you know, a nice little bill, and you kind of have this weird Daffy Duck looking thing here. It's very funny. I don't remember who showed that to me or who pointed that out first, but it may have been like Chief or Kale. I think it was Kale actually, but it's a really funny looking decal. Once you notice it, I don't think you can unnotice it. But oh, what else we got? Hmm. Some of the things I do for lighting. Like I wanted this structure here was a little weird in the stage one. Like it was kind of some weird like booth looking building thing. And I was like, TXer, how the hell is this supposed to make sense? And he's like, I don't know. So I ended up changing it quite a bit to be like kind of a pillar, and then I added this again from Train. Uh, this grading here, like kind of like a bridge walkway to uh, random powered transponder. I don't know. Uh, Train enclosure, whatever the hell you want to call this thing. I have no idea. It gives power for something. Ignore this part. Yep, nobody can see that. Um, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you kind of just do things to do things. It gave some nice kind of cool, great lighting, which is nice. I like lighting like this or shadows where you get some cool shadowing from the lights. So stuff like that. Um, I think these big lights here are very cool. We prefabbed these so that we could kind of edit them a bit and do whatever we wanted to with them. But it creates some nice dynamic lights with this. So we have the light itself has let me see if I can turn off particles. There we go. The light itself has this nice little beam here thing. So like how it works is kind of interesting too. I think the way it works is basically it shines light from here towards this way, and I think this is just a giant mirror, and it just bounces back the light. So nothing. This doesn't like this thing is the light itself. It just this is a bounce back of the light that it's creating, and so it makes this giant ass spotlight now. And so we get this neat little shadow effect here. A lot of cool shadows. I love trying to figure out ways to get some more shadows going. Like I had this original idea of like having something here, just having a long hallway that kind of leads nowhere. And so I thought of I needed something to block this off with, and I was like I put a gate here, and I was like, oh, I have this nice light that creates cool shadows. Let me add that as well. And now I have this with cool shadows. These are probably a bit too long. They're probably very noisy. I don't care. Uh, um, yeah, I don't care. It looks cool. Get over it. Thank you. But going back to the light, into the light, I have some various. Oh, hmm, hmm, Hammer's thinking about it. Is it crashing? Could it be crashing? We'll be patient. We'll wait. Take some water. Oh, it figured it out. Weird. Okay. Oh, it doesn't like that. Hmm. Hammer is so fun sometimes. It's trying to unhide after I've hidden. So it's like now it has I don't know. It's so silly. I love hide and unhide function in Hammer because it's so buggy sometimes. There. I, okay. So for this, I have a card here, just this little spotlight glow card that hide that one. This one just kind of has some neat little, I don't know, dust particles, I guess. I don't know what you want to call this, but just a nice little card. Adds a bit to the like beam length. Just I don't know. It kind of adds to it. I like it a lot. And then we have this other one I have here. This one's just kind of more like a God Ray light shaft thing. And again, and when you combine both of them, I think gives it a nice, just nice little glow. I don't know. I like it. Or nice little beam effect, I guess, more like it. I kind of feel like it's beaming out. This interior bit here is a mixture of, I think, two particles. Let me, yeah, I have this one, which is the sunray particle, so it gives this nice rainbow effect. I hide that, goes away. This still looks bright, thankfully. So I'm really trying to mimic the brightness effect because you can only mimic so much with emissive. So like I had like this already looks bright, but when it's through, let me hide some more of this. When it's through this stuff, it's like yeah, it's bright, but it's not bright. On this thing's casting a lot of light, and I want that to come across. So I have this one that I saw from Wild originally. I don't think it's on Wild anymore, but in stage two, this was on Wild. And like a week before, I was like, I really like this effect. I really want it on my map. Let me see what he did. And this was just a default asset, so I was like, cool, I'm going to use that now. Um, and so now it's on the map. This is a really cool effect, though. It really helps sell the hey, you're staring at a flippin' bright light there, bud. Maybe don't do that. Uh, so there's that, and then this is just a particle glow that's kind of blasted out to proportions. If you look at it like this, it looks horrendous, but you're not gonna see it like that in game. You're more seeing it kind of face on. I don't think you're ever really seeing it like that, thankfully, because I try to hide it pretty well. But it really helps give it that really bright effect. So when both of those are combined, I think it very much sells the effect here. And then I have some dust motes. Slim had given me feedback before that these dust motes moved really fast before, and didn't really make sense, so I slowed them down a bit. So for stage two, they were pretty fast, and now stage three, they're slower. They're much slower. But yeah, and so you combine all that, and you get, I think, this nice little effect here. I think those effect cards don't really show here, but yeah, I think you get this nice little effect. You get some, like, a very obvious bright light. Yeah, and I do the same thing for down here because it's prefab, so it's just, yeah, same thing. Mhm. Uh, I think for, yeah, for stage three, I did one over here because, again, it's one of those things where it's like, I really like this effect. I think it gives a lot of unique lighting. This area kind of originally suffered from having some, I think, pretty mediocre lighting. So it I don't know. This area, I think, was really kind of mid before, and the pun intended, because it is mid. Physically, this is the location of mid. But I was trying to kind of spice up this area a bit because it was pretty bland. We did some stuff in, like, this corner here to kind of just, I'll throw clutter out wall kind of thing. Like, hey, don't. Yeah, I think this looks actually pretty decent. Again, more train props. This texture from train, even though it's the dust crates, these dust crates are, I mean, these are just dust crates, but their train had a retexture for them, and it made them a lot better. They look a lot better now. Squidsky added some of this signage stuff, which is cool. All of the signage that Squidsky did, and all of the signage looks really good now. All of this is really cool. Just a lot of neat little call outs that you could do now. But yeah, for this same story as over there, I wanted some more interesting lighting, and I was like, hey, I have this big ass light. Let me just do the same thing and see if it works. And I think it worked pretty decently well, so I just kept it. And T Rexer said he didn't mind having the shadows going on here that reveal people, and I think it was kind of, I think he compared it to, like, Cash with the fire barrels, where it's like you're putting them there to kind of stop people from camping in a corner and just waiting. I don't know. Maybe he didn't do that. Maybe he did not mention that at all, and I'm just making it up. I don't remember for sure. Somebody mentioned it though. But yeah, again, I think this gives this area some nice unique lighting. The shadows are long, like, it's pretty cool when you look at it like this kind of thing. So yeah, I try to do very interesting things with the lighting when possible, because I really like lighting in Source 2. Same thing for here. Replaced these lights. These were from Nuke originally, and replaced them with Train ones, and then kind of, uh, have a nice white shine to them now. So it kind of differentiates from the, I think, more yellowish glow from this light. I don't know. I think it just helps contrast a bit on the areas. I don't know. Another dynamic light here. This area was actually really fun to try and do on dynamic lights because originally I had these as dynamic lights, or at least one of these, to get some nice, this cool shadowing effect on this floor. But it didn't. It didn't end up working out because I had way too many dynamic lights going on here. I have the sun here. I got, this is a dynamic light. I was trying to get, at one point I was trying to get a cool grading effect here, which these are both dynamic lights now, so you get shadow effects. But I wanted to be able to get a cool grading effect underneath here, kind of similar to uh, how it is over on B site with that grading. But it looked really cool in concept, but trying to execute it was really hard. So I ended up having to kind of change a bunch of things over time to get it to work, and to get the compiler to stop yelling at me about overlapping shadows. So I ended up scrapping these two, uh, added one here to get a kind of unique shadow if you're standing up here, because you can kind of see it from here. You'll see this from the, again, sunlight here. Um, and then, oh yeah, this is a fake as hell shadow. Originally, these, I think, cast dynamic shadows, but I also scrapped them, and then just left this one in. This one gives it this nice. This is a really cool grading effect here that I love so much. It's fake as hell. It doesn't make sense. Like again, realistically, these shadows would be coming from like here and there, but instead I just centered it and called it done. I don't know. I like the effect. I don't really always care if it makes sense sometimes, as long as it looks cool. And I think this looks really cool when you notice it. I hope more people notice it. I don't think a lot of people ever notice it, but I really like this effect. Um, I mean, this right here is basically just copied from Train to an extent. I mean, it's a little different, but it's pretty much from Train. Um, what else? Oh, the cabling. Cabling is really fun. I noticed that Train did a lot of this. Over on what is it? Whatever interior part that of the map that's called. I'm sorry, I don't actually know a lot of map callouts because I don't really play Counter Strike. Um, but I noticed that Train had a lot of this cabling, and so I tried to mimic it wherever I could. So I had like a fucking there's like it's so much cabling going on here. I mean, you have all this that you'll never notice at all, but I did it anyways. I have cables going here. I have a cable going across here. Every light on the map, I don't quote me on. Every light on the map, I think has a cable running to it to some. Oh, I forgot these. Whatever. Ignore that. Ignore that statement. Most of the lights on the map all have cables going to them, uh, and so I obsessed over a lot of the cabling. Um, so like you'll see everywhere pretty much like there's all of this cabling here, just really minor details, but it adds a lot. It takes a bit of effort to get, and you need to kind of droop the cables realistically. I don't know. It adds a lot though. I think when you notice it, it looks really nice. Super over here, like this massive bundle of cable here from this thing here, and then go over here, and then it goes up. And it's like, oh, this is just stuff going, like power going to the radio tower or something. This is actual, like these cables here. Oh, they're from under here. We look over here. Oh, there's cabling down here. And it goes into here. Oh, these goes to the radio tower equipment. So now all this goes up back here, and that's to the radio tower. So stuff like that. Like it kind of just build the lore, I guess, or give it some purpose and call it good, rather than just randomly having cables dangling for no reason. Try to make sure that all of it had a purpose of some kind. Unfortunately, you can't see it, but this prop is quite nice. This is a really nice prop, but you'll just never see it because it's so dark. Unfortunately, like anywhere I could put it, it's really dark, and there really wasn't a great place to put it. But if you look at this is a really nice prop. I think Squitsky may have bought it. I'm not sure. I think he probably bought it. If I had to guess, he brought it. Yeah. But yeah. Um, what else we got? Some more cool looking things here. These are just the cannons. I took Kale's cannon model. He had a pure just barrel version of this model, and I just took it and kind of threw it in there. The reference for this is it it is pretty much spot on with what this is. This material is definitely whatever. I don't even know what you'd call this material really. It escapes me. But the material type that it uses on the reference is pretty much one to one with what this was. So it's just like, what if I just did this and it worked and nobody said anything? So again, if nobody notices and nobody cares and it just works, does it really matter? So it just works. I'm trying to think. There's another hole over here. This is actually the first one I did for the destruction set, and I talked about it from over there. But basically, same thing. This hole is a lot weaker in my opinion. I don't have a lot of the chunky concrete bits on this one that I did over there, but it's also a lot smaller, so I think it is passable. But it's definitely, I think, the weaker of the destructions. Same thing over here with this light, being that I wanted cool shadows, and this area was looking kind of bland for a while, so it kind of spiced it up a bit. This area I went hard on the cabling as well. So like I have this generator here that Kale made. And so I have cables coming out the wazoo from it. It's like cable going here to power that. I got a cable going here to power this. Got one oh, goes all the way over here. Yeah, powers that. One going all the way over here. Oh, it kind of. Oh, that one I did later actually. It kind of goes here to power this light. Some interesting lighting here. This one actually comes from down here. This is a fake. This is just an emissive from train to kind of have random light down here, and then have a particle with some random smoke effects. I don't know. It just kind of make it look a little cooler, I guess. Uh, Over here, I have this cool looking one here that kind of droops across and rests on the pipe for a sec, and then just droops across again over here to this one. This light has, another cable bit here. This cable sucked to do. This I was stupid for doing this. I don't know why I did this one like this. But it kind of goes all over the place here. It goes around the rock, wraps around. Oh, it goes over here. It comes from this. Oh, don't look at that. Ignore this. Don't don't dock me points for that. Don't do that, please. Please. I need to eat. Uh But yeah, so it comes from like here. This is like I don't know who cares what this is. This just the cables all go into there, and then oh this is lit there, stuff like that. Just kind of have fun with it. This cool cable drooping effect here. It's just cool. I don't know. And then you daisy chain off of this to power this. This daisy chains off of that to power this. This one goes over here. Stuff like that. Oh, this one isn't powered. Oh, oh, I'm getting docked points for that. There's no way nobody noticed that, right? Ah, it's over. It's over. This map's shit, dude. Ah. So yeah, I mean, just like the cabling stuff, I think added a ton when I went through and did it all. Uh, a lot of little like, minor things that I think help a lot. Yeah. Cool. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? More cabling here. This random looking plug here that just oh that's the other thing I did. I did this is coming power here, and does all this goes up here. I added little power wires across. I saw these on Inferno. These were really cool. So I used them pretty much everywhere after I saw them on Inferno, and I thought they were really neat. So I started doing them myself. So we'll have like cable going here and get some nice droops. If you look some other places on the map, you'll see like there's one here. Um, there's one here. Yeah, I mean there's some of these all over the place. They're not super noticeable at times, but I think I attempt to add quite a bit with them usually. There's one here. It's just a little tiny detail kind of things. I'd also done a cable or wire pass for electricity all across the map for here. These just kind of go, they're pretty simple. It's just one spot to another. Boom, they connect. Boom, these connect. And then down here, boom, these connect. These connect. Yeah, stuff like that, all the way up till here. Uh, yeah, just simple stuff like that. But I think it adds a lot. You also get some nice, cool shadows from this. This is really cool. I think cool shadowing effect. Kind of follow it along. It follows your path to A long. You still see it. This is cool. Stuff like that. All of this is really cool. And then get this goes here, and then it goes there. Yeah, stuff like that. Really cool. Yeah, neat stuff. What else? I'm trying to think. Um, yeah, I don't know. This is a decent room to kind of talk about some of the fake light bounces that I do. If I have this, so the natural sunlight is usually pretty good. It's probably enough in most cases to light a room, but sometimes I really want to just purely light a room with natural lighting. Um, So I kind of fake the light bounces on a bit. Like this room, probably kind of passable to an extent, but probably would need a little bit of unnatural light, like a light source from something to kind of brighten it up in normal situations. I didn't really want to do that, so I kind of just have a fake light here that it just bounces the hell out of it. What do I even have that bounce set to? At 20. That's a bit extreme probably, but that's what I do in some of these cases. It's probably not the most realistic. I don't think this looks bad though. I think it looks kind of neat, and also I like whenever you can get away with it. I think the light environment lighting is a lot better. So if you can fake your light, sometimes it's worth it. Originally, I had this faked a lot more, but it made everything look way too evenly lit and wasn't that. I don't think it was that good in here. So I ended up getting rid of it for this much more just natural. I mean, this is just pure light environment right here, and then there's a light here and then a light here that kind of light their own respective areas. But for the most part, this is all just natural light bounce from the light environment, which is cool. Nice, cool shadows. um, I don't know. Some of these rooms are pretty weak. But I tried my best to kind of make them a little passable, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes it's hard. I wish cables rendered in path trace, by the way. Please, Valve, please fix. But yeah, it's okay. Um, oh, this is cool. I don't know. I think what more to talk about. Here's this bridge. This bridge is pretty ugly. I wouldn't look at some of this too much. Some of this is like pretty, like you're trying to think of something to do here, because otherwise you kind of just have a boring path, and need something to spice it up. So it's like here's a here's kind of a bridge. It kind of works. I don't know. Shouldn't bring some of this stuff up. Some of this stuff looks, you'll notice it. It's like, oh, that's pretty garbage. This map is actually pretty garbage if you look at it too much. So maybe maybe don't look at it too much. But kill stuff is really good. I like kills. All of Kill's little destruction bits. I wish I could talk about some of this stuff, but I have no idea. He did a good job on the castle. Good stuff. We have our monkeys. These monkey models are actually horrendous, by the way. If you ever, I don't think you're able to in game because I try to make it where they kill themselves before you're able to ever see them. But if you're, I say kill because the trigger is literally killing the entity. It's not, whatever. But these monkey models are quite bad, quite bad looking. I think for a while in some of the versions we had, you could very clearly like see them like just standing here, and they were way too close, and it was way too noticeable how like ugly they were for models. So I threw them all in like much further away places. I think this is the closest you can get to one of those monkeys, which honestly might be too close in my opinion as well. Um, but but yeah, these models are kind of rough. You look at them for too long, but it's passable. It's passable. So there's like I have a spawns a randomizer basically set up that these there's like a, I don't even know what percent chance of these spawning anymore because I've tweaked it so much to make it less and less common. But there's a chance that this guy comes and spawns in. He just walks across this, comes down here. Oh, I'm gonna go down here. He walks all the way around, and then he meets up here with his buddy who also spawns in only if that one's triggered. Like both of these spawn and they'll just sit here for the rest of the round. Uh, this guy here just walks around in a circle for the whole map, and then this guy walks across. He walks across here, just kind of loops, and then poofs out of existence once he gets to there. And then there's a trigger here, right about here. There's also a trigger, I believe, here and here. No, here. And then interior wise, I think there's a trigger here that will cause this monkey here, to sprint across, and then vanish once he hits right here. Because realistically, I think I made sure where you'll never see them pop out of existence, but they kind of just disappear. So it's a little strange if you think about it too much, but you just kind of see it. So it's just a quick dash across and then he's gone. Kind of like he knows you're coming and they're just running away. And then same thing for right here. You come right here. This guy dashes across and just kind of disappears into the tunnels. What else? I have one that climbs. This little guy here. He climbs the whole mountain basically. He goes over here and then whoop, whoop, whoop. And then right here, he's kind of it's hard to see him from anywhere specific right here, so he just kind of cuts in here and then just circles around for the rest of the match on this upper part. Kind of see him, kind of can't really see him that much. It was kind of pointless to do, but whatever, I did it anyways. The main thing here was that you can clearly see him walking around this from specifically B site and then T spawn. You can kind of see him start moving up the mountain as well. I think by the time you get to this window, normally as a CT, I think you see him hmm, maybe around here. I'm not sure exactly for sure. Again, it's like a random spawn chance, so you're not always gonna see a lot of these. Um, this guy has a chance of spawning in at the start of warm up, basically. So like you're starting the buy round, or you're starting to buy, and this guy has a chance to like quickly dash up here and then just vanish out of your view before you can even move. Just kind of like a what was that kind of thing. Uh, and then this guy over here just kind of walks around up top in a circle for the whole match. Just walks in a circle. You only really see his head from right here, and you see his tail for sure. And then from here, you only see his tail. So I don't know. It's just kind of a little thing. You just kind of notice it every now and then. You're like, what the heck was that? I don't know. Hopefully they add and never detract, though. I don't know. They're kind of weird at times, probably. Kind of wish I placed some more, but I don't know. There's quite a bit of monkeys around Gibraltar if you look at some of the references that people have, or even just videos that people have. And I don't know if other people realize the that yeah, I don't know if people realize that there are monkeys on Gibraltar. It just seems so weird, but it's like yeah, there are monkeys here. This like this slow monkey sign is like how it looks on Gibraltar. And then same thing for this that I got. This is just how it is in Gibraltar. Yeah. So references are cool. This tunnel entrance here I really liked. Kale, I think Kale did pretty much the entire geometry of this because I was struggling to figure out a another tunnel to do because we had the ref for this tunnel entrance here. We had the ref for this tunnel entrance here, which by the way, these are totally different uh like tunnel entrances in real life. Like this is the uh this one is the Landport tunnel, I think. Landport tunnel entrance. I don't want to look at it right now, but this is like just one tunnel entrance and then oh, and this is a completely different tunnel entrance. This whole tunnel right here is designed or is referenced from the Landport tunnel, which is actually like a tunnel originally in Gibraltar that they would close off. uh, uh, like you just kind of close off access to the city kind of thing, I guess. So it's like you better get in before gates closed kind of thing. So yeah, so normally this would not be anywhere up this high on a mountain. So, but it had some really cool reference geometry. So we use that here, and then kind of same thing here. This is actually really basic looking geometry to be honest, but I think it works really well. Same thing for a lot of this, just really basic geometry, but I think the texturing helps. I think you get some nice, cool, like reflective glow or reflective shimmer and shine from this. Really cool. But the lighting, the coloring is also, I believe I referenced the Landport tunnel for this, so that's why it's kind of this weirdish green. But I really like it. I think it gives it a nice, unique feel for this area here, even if it's not really used that often. trying to think. I don't know if I have much else. T-Rexer did all the foliage placements, so I didn't really have to worry about that, thankfully. I really struggle sometimes with some of these, like does this tree look good here? I needed him to do it because he knew exactly the way he wanted the map to look, and so I'm able to do a lot of these, all of this detail. But like when it comes to like some of these trees, if I put it right here, if I put a tree here, it's gonna block this, and that's probably obvious. It's probably obvious not to do that, but to an extent, I was just like, hey, can you just do this for me, so I don't just heck it up, And so he did all the foliage placement. So thank you, T-Rexer, for that. What else? What else? These roads are interesting. So I did a road over here, and over here, um, where I have these. These are actually props from, again, Train. They had some little destroyed kind of asphalt props, and so I took them and collapsed them a bit, separate them out. Uh, so separate them out into chunks like this, and then just kind of put them on the edge of the actual road mesh that I have here, and just kind of stick them in. It's a bit of a hacky way to do this, but you get some artificial depth, or not even artificial. You just get some depth to the geometry here, and I think it kind of helps add a bit more. Originally at the end of stage 2, this was all flat, and it's just because I did this pretty late into stage 2. And so I didn't have any of this, so it was basically just like this for the end of stage 2. And so I added this for stage 3. But again, it just kind of adds a bit of depth, really. I think it's nice. Nice. Uh, pretty simple. Not too crazy. Um, have these particles here underneath some of these trees, if I can find one here. These kind of just spawn little tiny leaf particles. It's very infrequent on when they spawn, so I'm not gonna wait around for one to spawn. But you've probably seen them across the map some. They just spawns randomly. I think Overpass originally used it, but when I looked back at Overpass, couldn't find any uses of it. So I have no idea where this is used on anymore. But just yeah, they're cool. I like them. Adds a bit of just adds a bit to them. Kind of place it different areas where the tree is obvious. Don't look too closely because the leaf model or the leaf texture that this thing has is like very obviously not a pine tree leaf. Which obviously a pine tree leaf is just the pine needles more so than a leaf. But still, don't look too don't look too closely at it. Don't think too closely at it because well, it's not that deep, bro. What else? What else? Interior wise, I did quite a few of these drips for stage 3. Originally, I had a little. It's a more simple particle effect. Wasn't quite as sophisticated as this one, but for this one, it spawns a little splash effect at the bottom. It just kind of drips from the pipe, makes a little splash effect. Like some of these other ones that I have, they spawn within a small like 32 unit like area, so like you'll get some infrequent spawning. Like this one just spawned here. Oh, it spawned here. That type of stuff. You kind of get some variety. Again, spawns the water splash. Really cool effect. Very minor, like just some small things that you kind of notice. Um, this just kind of sprinkles water. I didn't do a soundscape for this. I forgot. Dang, that's my bad. Hmm. I was having trouble trying to figure out how to do the water splash like kind of sound effect because there weren't any default ones that sounded good. And it's like getting a sound for this is kind of tricky in my opinion. Um, so I forgot to do this one. I got rid of the one over here and replaced it with just a single drip. For that exact reason, I didn't want to do a soundscape over here, and I guess I forgot this one existed. Hmm. Well. There you go. I don't think anybody notices these either. This particle, this specific particle here, is really hard to notice, um, because it's so I don't know. It's so small, and you need to be like right under it to notice with the lighting. Sometimes it's kind of meh. I think it gets the effect okay. Like, hey, it's a broken pipe type thing. Like, hey, the pipe slanted. You know, some of this could have probably been better, but I think it gets the idea of cross. So I don't know if I care. Um, Same thing for over here. Just gets the idea across. Probably could have used like a pipe model that's down here that would have connected these two kind of thing, but just broken. But honestly, I'm not sure if it would have mattered that much. Because again, I think you get the effect across, and most of the time, if it's just understood. Um, what else? I know I'm talking a while about this stuff. This was kind of interesting to do. I took a Valve has a corrugated metal prop from Train, obviously. It was this one? Yeah. It was corrugated metal prop, which is pretty nice. So what I did was I collapsed it, okay, and then I painstakingly removed these top edges or these top faces, and then I forgot to extract. Always extract face. I took this basically, and then you just kind of well, you take this, you know, make a bit here, kind of thing, and then I take this. Whoop, 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 whoop. Take this. I take this. Alt B. Nope. Control B. Nope. Which one was it? Bridge? Didn't let me bridge. Hmm. It's mad at me. Why is it mad at me? Oh, this still has its bottom faces. My bad. There we go. Alt B. Nope. Still mad at me. Nope. Still mad at me. Well, you get the idea. I did it somehow. Don't remember how. I did it somehow. You bridge the two together. You get a nice little arch here. uh, with all of the added depth from the Valve model, so I don't have to redo all of this. And so I did that and got this cool little corrugated bit. This is from a reference. I think it's I don't remember exactly where the reference is. It's by the Great Siege Tunnel, though. Um, if you pretty sure if you look up the Great Siege Tunnel, this is one of the like first few images that you'll probably see. But most of this is all based off of reference, give or take. This looks a little different. We had to change a bit of it up for gameplay reasons, but generally this shape and structure of this is pretty much how it would look. So this is a really cool reference though, and I liked it. Wanted to use it, so I did. Mm, More tunnel work for stage three. I changed this up quite a bit. This was a really boring, um, just connector before. Like this room was really bland, so I threw some more rocks everywhere and just called it done. Really, it's sometimes it felt like almost a cop out in a way for me to just kind of throw rocks on the ceiling and call it done. But that's really what I did for a lot of these rooms. If you look around, and it just it felt bad because it seems extremely lazy to me. But to an extent, I was like, this is so boring. If I just have a concrete ceiling like this, these rooms are interesting. I'm able to do curvatures here. This is fine. This is cool. This is really cool. I like this. You have the cutout here with the opening for the radio tower. That's really cool. Uh, this, I mean, I don't have a lot of room to work with anyways because I have this busting my balls here. So trying to do anything here when I have this shit above is painful. You don't have a lot of room to work with sometimes, and so you kind of just make do with what you can. Uh, Same thing for this was really cool to do. Tierxer had and I think it was Tierxer maybe had an idea to kind of expand this room a bit. This was uh, up, I think probably up to here. This was the original. this little line was probably the original geometry, and then this all above was what I had added afterwards because we thought it would be cool to increase the ceiling height, add some height, add some rocks over here. Just seems really cool. Originally, I had like this is just an arch. It looked really weird and out of place, but it looked cool because a rock art, that's kind of cool. And so added some more rocks to it, and just ended up doing the whole shebang just as rocks. It was kind of cool. Well, I think it worked out decently, maybe. So yeah, did that. Too impressive here. Just rocks in a tunnel, more cabling stuff. Um, hmm, um, I don't really think I have too much to be quite honest. Most of the rock placements are kind of just trying to sort of match T-Rex's original geometry. He did a really good job of giving, I think, the initial shape of the map. I think it worked pretty well overall, and it was really just about kind of throwing some rock models on there and making it match, and then we colored obviously, or you paint the grass onto the rock texture, and then throw some plants on there, and all of a sudden it just kind of looks like a map. Again, I showed this off before, but like, I mean, for a while this is what the map looked like before we had foliage on it. So I mean, you just have this. Like, this is so empty compared to that. It's kind of insane looking at the difference now. But man, this is a totally different map. Yeah, very cool, pretty cool. Tunnel over here. Yeah. Not really much else to talk about. I think I don't know if I have much else to really say here. I've been talking for a while. I know I faked this fog effect again here. This is just pretty simple. This is just a fog card, and you just kind of make it the shape of the tunnel, and then just fit, and it just works. Just I don't know. Like yeah, it just kind of works. Sometimes I do it over here as well. Just throw there's this little particle smoke thing here, and then the fog card right here as well does the same thing. Just kind of works. Wish I could have done more with these. I just kind of didn't have time. But these are a reference in saw a video reference where this guy was going through some of the much older cave sections on Gibraltar that are more abandoned now, and they had these kind of silo or looking doors here, and then like you go inside behind them, and there's just like these giant metal, like I don't even know what they're filled with, container, like circular containers, kind of like these ones right here that we have. Basically these ones, but much bigger, that you could like stand on and stuff, and they're just in the mountain. It's kind of crazy. There's the Gibraltar, the mountain of Gibraltar is really a cool reference to have gotten the chance to do a map on. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff for this. So I was really happy to be able to do this map. Really cool. That's about it. I'd talk about the skybox, but there's not really much to talk about. This thing is pretty meh, pretty awful. Honestly, it's pretty bad. We have a fake fog card back here, kind of helps hide some of the garbageness that is this geometry. But this is just really simple, like just blech. Some, I think it's the same prop scattered a bunch of times just to give it some dimension. Um, all of this geometry is really bad. I did this. This is all bad. I don't look at this, please, dear God. I, I don't know. Problem is that we already had performance issues, and then on top of that, I didn't want to put any effort into this. I much rather would have had it if the fog just covered this completely, but somebody wants to have the flippin' boats visible, so we had the boats visible. And so instead, I settled on some more fog cards, or cloud cards, I guess. These are clouds. to try and help kind of smother the view a bit. And I apologize for how awful this looks compared to the rest of the map, but I did not want to spend very much effort on it. It's very blocky, I know, but it's also out of bounds. So, and in the skybook. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Just don't look at it. Stop looking at it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, some fake fog here. Pretty cool effect. Just kind of again fakes the fog layer there. And then over here, same thing. Just a fake fog to keep this kind of a little hazier, but then keep the boats visible. I don't know. I don't know if there's much else. We got this lantern prop that I started placing every year. This are the glow sticks of the map, basically. Uh, I know a lot of people like to fucking throw glow sticks around on their maps and have some random color light. So thought it'd be funny if we did the same thing with a lantern instead. It's like, yeah, this is a more unique way of doing that exact same concept. You just kind of are throwing a different colored light in a section. So like, oh, this is kind of more yellowish, and then bam, just orange light, bam, an orange light here, orange lights here. Just kind of add some more color some places. Does it work? I don't know. It's not very bright. Some of those glow sticks, like the glow sticks on wrecked, like man, those things are bright. I don't know if I've ever seen glow sticks that bright before, but they are definitely bright. Stuff like that though. Uh, Anything else? Some more fake light bounces in here. Otherwise, this would be kind of bland, to be quite honest. I'm gonna show it. What is it without? I don't remember. Oh, the same. Uh, well, pretty meh. I don't know. It adds a bit. It's not ton. It's not a ton, but it adds a bit of the ambient lighting. So, whatever. This used to be a bit different here. Like I used to have, like these used to cast a lot more light until I decided for these dynamic lights in here to get some cool shadows. This netting here was done using the mesh projection tool. This thing is super jank, but it's also very nice and very useful. But just be aware that it's super jank. I mean, it just takes the mesh that you have, takes this mesh that you have here, and just projects it onto the surface. And so if I look at this now, oops, I needed verts. You need verts. You obviously need verts in order for something to merge to or conform to your shape. Hold on. Mesh project. Bam. There. And now we have this. And this is what I mean. This sometimes it just fucking like explodes. But yeah, it tries to conform to the shape of whatever you're trying to merge to. So to project to. So it projects onto it. So it projects onto the rock. So it does a nice little effect here. And then you have to do a lot of manual tweaking to make it not look quite so bad. But it does a nice job at getting the shape there. So that's what we did here. Again, some of this stuff, just little things, kind of add up. I feel. Um, is there anything else? I don't think so. I think I'm pretty much there. Um, yeah, I think I've explained pretty much all of the useless nonsense that anybody would probably care to know about this map. I don't know if anybody cared to know anything about this map, but it was really fun to make, uh, really annoying to make, and also really bothersome to make. And I appreciate getting to work with all the people that I get to work with on this. Uh, yeah, it was fun. It was good stuff. Um, Top three map for sure, right? Yeah, totally. No bias, no bias. But this is a top three map in terms of art. And if you think otherwise, well, you're right, but you're also wrong. So that's okay. But no, it's fine. Yeah, I hope this is enjoyable, and thanks for watching.